A 17-year-old girl boarded a commercial flight over the Peruvian Amazon, expecting to be home before sunset. Instead, her aircraft disappeared into a violent thunderstorm. Moments later, a bolt of lightning ripped through the plane, tearing it apart more than 10,000 feet above the jungle. Hundreds of square miles of endless rainforest waited below. Every passenger was believed dead. But when the storm finally passed, one teenage girl opened her eyes, alone, injured, and surrounded by silence. Her name was Juliane Koepcke, and what happened over the next 11 days would become one of the most extraordinary true survival stories ever recorded. On the morning of December 24th, 1971, 17-year-old Juliane Koepcke and her mother arrived at Lima Airport, eager to return home after celebrating Christmas with relatives. Their destination was Pucallpa, where Juliane's father was waiting at a remote biological research station deep within the Peruvian Amazon. The airport buzzed with holiday travelers, laughter, and excited reunions. To Juliane, it was simply another routine flight. She had flown over the rainforest many times before and felt no reason to worry. But beyond the horizon, towering storm clouds were already gathering. Hidden within them was a chain of events that would transform an ordinary Christmas Eve into one of the most astonishing survival stories in modern history. For nearly half an hour, the flight continued peacefully across the endless Amazon rainforest. From her window seat, Juliane watched a sea of emerald trees stretching beyond the horizon, glowing beneath the afternoon sun. But gradually, the clear sky began to disappear. Towering thunderclouds rose like dark mountains, swallowing the light as the aircraft flew deeper into the storm. The cabin lights flickered. Turbulence shook the plane with increasing force, and nervous whispers spread among the passengers. Outside, flashes of lightning illuminated the clouds. Inside the cockpit, the pilots searched for a safe route through the violent weather. None of the passengers knew that within moments, Flight 508 would enter the storm that would change history forever. Without warning, the storm unleashed its full fury. The aircraft was tossed violently from side to side as blinding flashes of lightning surrounded the sky. Then, in a single terrifying instant, a powerful bolt of lightning struck the right wing. A deafening explosion echoed through the cabin as flames erupted from the engine. The fuselage began to tear apart under the immense force, scattering debris high above the Amazon. Oxygen masks dropped from the ceiling. Luggage flew through the air, and terrified passengers screamed as the aircraft broke into pieces. Still strapped to a row of 3 seats, Juliane was suddenly ripped from the cabin and hurled into the open sky. Within seconds, Flight 508 had vanished, leaving only silence, fire, and thousands of feet of empty air beneath her. There was no fear anymore, only the deafening roar of rushing wind. Still strapped to a row of 3 passenger seats, Juliane spun helplessly through dark storm clouds, falling more than 10,000 feet toward the endless Amazon rainforest. Pieces of the aircraft tumbled beside her before disappearing into the mist below. Then, everything went black. Instead of crashing directly onto the forest floor, the dense jungle canopy absorbed much of the impact, breaking her fall in a way that seemed almost impossible. Absorbed much of the impact, breaking her fall in a way that seemed almost impossible. When Juliane finally opened her eyes the following morning, she was lying alone beneath towering trees. Her collarbone was broken, one eye had swollen nearly shut, and deep cuts covered her body. Somehow, against every law of probability, she was still alive. When Juliane finally gathered the strength to stand, the horrifying reality became clear. There was no wreckage nearby, no voices calling her name, no rescuers searching through the trees. She was completely alone in one of the largest rainforests on Earth. Every movement sent pain through her broken collarbone, and one swollen eye left her vision blurred. Her glasses were missing, and deep cuts covered her arms and legs. Yet panic would only waste precious energy. Instead, Juliane remembered the survival lessons her zoologist parents had taught her since childhood. If she could find running water, she might eventually find people. With nothing but determination, she took her first painful steps into the endless Amazon jungle. Juliane knew the Amazon better than most people ever would. Years spent with her zoologist parents had taught her one simple but life-saving rule. Water almost always leads to people. After hours of searching, she discovered a narrow stream flowing quietly through the jungle. Without hesitation, she began following its course downstream. Every step was painful. Her broken collarbone throbbed, cuts burned in the humid air, and exhaustion slowed her pace. Yet the flowing water became more than a guide. It became hope itself. As the stream gradually widened into a small creek, Juliane believed she was moving closer to civilization. She had no map, no food, and no certainty. Only the sound of running water leading her deeper into the unknown. As the days passed, the Amazon revealed just how unforgiving it could be. Juliane's wounds became infected in the hot, humid air, and swarms of mosquitoes covered every exposed inch of her skin. Hunger grew stronger with each passing day, yet she refused to eat unfamiliar fruits or plants, knowing that many could be poisonous. Instead, she drank from the flowing stream and kept moving, conserving every bit of energy she had left. Each night brought strange sounds from the darkness, distant animal calls, rustling leaves, and unseen creatures moving beyond the trees. Sleep came only in short moments. The rainforest tested her body, her mind, and her will. But every sunrise reminded her that survival meant taking just one more step. By the 8th day, Juliane's body was reaching its limit. Hunger had become constant, and every step sent sharp pain through her injured shoulder. Her wounds were becoming badly infected, and she discovered that fly larvae had entered one of the deep cuts on her arm. Despite the pain, she refused to stop moving. She knew that lying down to rest for too long could mean never getting up again. There were moments when exhaustion tempted her to give up, but thoughts of her father waiting in Pucallpa gave her strength. Somewhere beyond the endless forest, someone might still be searching. As long as she could keep walking beside the water, hope was still alive. On the morning of the 11th day, something caught Juliane's attention. As she followed the widening stream, she noticed signs that did not belong to the wilderness. Fresh footprints marked the muddy riverbank, and nearby, a narrow footpath disappeared into the trees. Moments later, she saw something she had almost forgotten existed. A small wooden boat tied beside the water. It was the first undeniable proof that people had been there. Weak and barely able to stand, Juliane waited beside the boat, hoping its owners would return. After 11 days of pain, hunger, and unimaginable isolation, the silence of the rainforest was finally broken. For the first time since Flight 508 vanished from the sky, rescue no longer felt impossible. The men could hardly believe what they were seeing. Standing before them was a weak, exhausted teenage girl who claimed she had survived the crash of Lanza Flight 508. At first, they thought she must be confused. But as Juliane described the aircraft, the storm, and the fall from the sky, they realized she was telling the truth. The forest workers carefully cleaned her wounds with the limited supplies they had and allowed her to rest overnight. Early the next morning, they carried her by boat down the river to the nearest village, where she was finally taken to a hospital. After 11 unimaginable days alone in the Amazon, Juliane Koepcke had survived one of the greatest survival ordeals in modern history. Once Juliane's condition had stabilized, she shared everything she could remember with investigators, guided by her memories of the flight path and the winding river she had followed. Search teams returned to the Amazon. There, hidden beneath the dense canopy, they finally discovered the scattered wreckage of Lanza Flight 508. The heartbreaking truth soon became clear. Juliane had been the only survivor among the 92 people on board. For investigators, the discovery explained one of Peru's worst aviation disasters. For Juliane, however, it marked the beginning of a lifetime, carrying memories that would never completely fade. For many people, surviving such an unimaginable tragedy would have meant avoiding the Amazon forever. But Juliane Koepcke made a very different choice. Inspired by the same passion for nature that her parents had shared, she devoted her life to studying tropical ecosystems. She eventually became a respected biologist, returning countless times to the rainforest that had nearly claimed her life. Rather than remembering the jungle only as a place of fear, she came to see it as a place of knowledge, resilience, and survival. More than 50 years later, Juliane's extraordinary journey continues to inspire millions around the world, proving that courage, determination, and hope can overcome even the most impossible circumstances. Some stories become legends because they seem impossible, yet every moment of Juliane Koepcke's journey is documented history. At just 17 years old, she survived the destruction of an airliner, fell more than 10,000 feet into the Amazon rainforest, and endured 11 days alone in one of the world's most unforgiving environments. She did not survive because of extraordinary strength alone. She survived because she remained calm, trusted the knowledge her parents had given her, and refused to surrender, even when hope seemed lost. Today, Juliane's story is remembered not simply as a miracle, but as a powerful reminder that courage, knowledge, and determination can overcome unimaginable odds. Sometimes, the greatest survival story is not about defeating nature, but about understanding it. And somewhere beneath the endless green canopy of the Amazon, the forest still quietly guards the memory of the girl who fell from the sky and lived. If this incredible true story inspired you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more extraordinary documentaries about survival, history, and the remarkable people who overcame impossible odds. Until next time, stay curious, respect nature, and never underestimate the strength of the human spirit.